Alright guys, welcome to a brand new video. If you guys are looking to add 100 pounds to your bench, this video is the video for you. Just kidding, that's a little unrealistic, but with these tips that I'm about to give you, if you're not already implementing them, that is, assuming you're not really that into the powerlifting world, then this will help you drastically improve your bench in just a couple of weeks, months, maybe days even, so pay close attention. All right guys, so let's start with our setup, which is probably the backbone to pressing efficiently, right? You want a good setup. One of the most fundamental aspects is making sure your upper and mid back are stable, and in order to have that happen, your upper back needs to be like dug into the bench, you know, to the point where it's not gonna move. Right? That's what messes up a lot of people's benches. And so how do we do that? I say in order to do that, you need to slide up on the bench by pushing your quads. This will generate friction on the bench, and the friction will allow your back to stop slipping or slip not nearly as much under heavy loads. And this is why the pad matters so much, because this is like a normal commercial gym pad, right? Even though you do implement this, it might cause a little bit of slipping, not as much slipping as if you don't do the sliding technique. If you were to go on a powerlifting bench that's literally designed to bench the most weight, the material, it will just be much better to use. There will be a lot more friction, you'll feel a lot more stable. So in that aspect, the pad does matter. But that's not like a big factor. Obviously, like it is a factor, but you know, the biggest factor is your strength, right? Like just get stronger on the bench press, whether it's on a normal pad or on a commercial pad or a powerlifting pad. Now I'm gonna go over another important detail, which is your foot placement. Where do you wanna place your feet? This is very important because depending on where you place your feet, this will affect the size of your arch, your slide into the bench, and also just, you know, your feet are gonna stay planted the entire time throughout the setup and the bench. So I'm gonna specifically discuss where your feet should be relative to your head. So this one is an example of my feet being close to my head, and then this one is an example of me with my feet farther away from my head. So as you can see, in most cases, not in all cases, you can usually get a bigger arch with your feet closer to your head, right? Because it allows more of your back to be arched. And then when you place it a little farther, it might, in most cases, decrease your arch, which will lengthen your range of motion. But I can't say that for all cases because everyone's body composition is different. So now I'm gonna actually tell you guys how to find out a good foot placement for you, right? A lot of this is experimentation, but you want to find a place where your upper back can round a lot. Your thoracic spine specifically, you want to maximize the arch in your thoracic spine, but your lower back, you want to keep actually more neutral. The reason being is because if you extend your lower back too much, like have a McDonald's kind of arch, then you might feel a lot of pain there. Obviously your lower back can extend, but you know, under a heavy weight on the bench, you know, it's not really safe for your lower back. So you want your feet kind of close, you want your feet as close as possible where you can still have your lower back be rather neutral when you set your butt down. Now to actually slide on the bench, I'm not just raising my hips up, even though that's kind of what it looks like. I'm not just shooting my hips up and getting over to where I need to be to unrack. I'm actually pushing through my quads mainly. And to push through your quads, think about not just generating force down through your foot, but also through your toes. You want to not be pressing in a straight into the ground, like in the straight direction of gravity, but actually at more of an angle, right, through your toes. Now, obviously the reason is because, you know, you gotta generate force to move laterally towards the bar on the bench press. You gotta generate force in the opposite direction, right? So you gotta push laterally to move laterally. Not only that, but you'll see later that the quad activation does not only apply to the setup, but it's something that you will constantly need to be doing throughout both the ascent and the descent of your press. So that's something I like to call constant leg drive. The reason being is that's what keeps your back stable during a bench press. You know, that's what keeps your back from sinking down when you're pressing heavy weights. I'm gonna show you an example of this. So this is me from 2022 competing at a meet. I believe it was in Wisconsin, and my opener on my bench was 330. And here I really prioritized getting a massive arch, right? Like these, the arch I had was insane. And so because of that, my lower back was compromised. Like I was feeling pain in my lower back from extending so much. And if you look at the bottom of those bench attempts, like they were not stable. It was bouncing around because my lower back was not neutral. I prioritized my arch overall, right? So I think on the second attempt, I actually failed my first two attempts and almost bombed out of the meet. But on my third attempt, I had a pep talk with my coach, and he told me to try moving my feet farther out, allowing my lower back to be more neutral. And I felt my leg drive much better. My lower back was in a much safer position, and as a result, my arch did go down. But you can see that I still got the lift, and it was the easiest out of the three. I mean, I don't know if it was it definitely felt the easiest out of the three, maybe not the fastest, but also those past two attempts didn't count, right? So lesson of the day, don't sacrifice everything for the arch. Don't sacrifice everything to get the shortest range of motion possible, because sometimes if you put your body in a bad position, you know, the priority should always be put your body in a safe position, right? And be as stable as possible. Never sacrifice that for range of motion. All right, guys, so now that we've talked about the sliding technique and the quad drive, the quad leg drive, now we're gonna talk about how we can unrack the bar. So at the end of the day, when you unrack, you want to get to a position where the bar is directly in line above your shoulders. And the reason for this is because when the bar is directly above your wrist, which is directly above your elbow, which is directly above your shoulder, that's where you'll be the strongest. That's where the weight will feel the lightest in your hands. And also, it is the safest position to press from, right? So for those two reasons, I'm sure you guys already knew that, you know, but I just wanted to say that for good measure. And the way to do that is two things: scapular depression and rotating your elbows inward. So scapular depression is the act of moving your scapulas downwards towards your ribs. I'll have a demonstration of it. This is scapular depression right here. This is not to be confused with scapular retraction, which is basically having your shoulder blades move backwards and squeezing together. That is not what you need to be focusing on. Scapular depression is what will bring the bar from your eye level to your shoulder level. Now, talking about the rotating your elbows inward, that is also very important because that is what engages your lats. Your lats also play a role in your bench press and your stability. And so if you rotate your elbows inward, it'll give you more power. So the thing I like to think about is you're trying to bend the bar, right? All right, so it's the best example I can think of at the moment is like squeezing a towel almost when you twist it outward. And so what you'll know, it's like try to break the bar, basically try to bend the bar to the point it will snap in half, right? Obviously it won't because it's made out of metal, but just cueing that will help you rotate your elbows inward and feel your lats engage. Now, what I don't want you to do is overdo this, because if you overdo it, then that will also cause a lot of issues, because when you rotate your elbows, that kind of sets the direction in how flared and how your elbows are. So if you do it too much, your elbows might be way too tucked, and like, you know, it causes a variety of issues. You might get shoulder pain, you might get elbow pain, and no one wants to deal with that. And if you tuck it too much, you're probably not gonna be able to press as much. Now, the degree that you rotate your elbows, i.e. the degree that your elbows tuck or your elbows flare, is heavily dependent on your grip width with respect to your body composition. So the reason I say not just grip width, right? Because in general, right? In general, close grip means your elbows are probably more tucked. Wider grip probably means your elbows are more flared. Yes, that works, but you have to take into account that everyone's built differently, right? So, for example, I'll give you this. For example, this is super heavyweight champion of the world, Jesus Olivares, Mega Gojira on Instagram, right? He's really strong, obviously. He's benched 617 in the gym, and he uses a max grip, which, if you don't know, is index finger on the outermost ring on the Ohio power bar, which is what powerlifting competitions use, or the Eleiko power bar, or just any power bar, right? If you look at me using this grip and then look at him, I look a lot more flared, even though I'm using the same width, even though I'm using the same grip, right? The reasoning behind this is because to him, because he's 400 pounds, max grip almost feels like if I were to do a close grip. So if I were to do a close grip, I would have more tucked elbows. But me doing max grip is like, wow, it's all the way out here. But for him, it feels more like if I were to do a close grip, right? That's kind of why it's not just grip width, but body composition. All right, so to recap, when you unrack, depress those scapulas to get the bar in line directly over your shoulders, and also rotate your elbows inward, but do not overdo it, right? The objective is to engage the lats, not to damage our elbows or shoulders, right? So that is honestly something that you need to experiment with to find a good elbow angle. But yeah, those are the two things that I would recommend you do when you think about unracking. So you might be asking now, I got the sliding technique down, and I also got the unrack technique down. What the fuck do I do with my ass? So I'll tell you what not to do. What I don't want you to do is take everything we've built with the sliding and the unrack and throw that all out the window by just plopping your butt down on the bench, losing all tension in your legs and in your back, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. So now that you know what not to do, I'll tell you what you do need to do. So technically, when you're benching, your whole entire butt doesn't have to be all on the bench, right? Just like the bottommost part, it just needs to graze the bench. It just needs to be on there, right? So now the next step is, while still constantly driving your legs, try your best to maintain your upper back arch, right? Your upper back positioning that we've built through the slide and pushing our quads and having our hips go into the air, while just slowly with control lowering that butt down to the bench. You can do this. It sounds kind of weird, but like, try it out. Try to maintain that upper back tightness and that upper back thoracic arch while constantly driving through your legs and having your butt come down to the bench, right? Slowly. Doesn't have to be slowly, just in a controlled fashion, right? If you notice you cannot do this without like just lower back pain, or like you lose stability in your upper back from doing this, chances are you need to change your foot positioning. Like I mentioned before, if your feet are too close, you're not giving your lower back enough room to be neutral, to breathe, then change your foot positioning. Remember, the name of the game is not the shortest range of motion. It's the shortest range of motion that maintains your stability and safety. All right, guys. Dang, the shadow. Look like I'm from the shadows. Anyways, now that you got your butt is on the bench, now I'm gonna show you how to actually press, right? So I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but again, constant leg drive, pushing through your quads by pushing through your toes. Like I said in the beginning of the video, this will keep your upper back as stable and planted as possible during the whole entire movement, right? That's kind of something you need. So even on the descent, drive through your toes, and obviously on the ascent, right? So the bench is really more than just a chest and tricep movement. I want to talk about how to descend on the bench, aka how to bring the bar but down to your chest. To bring the bar down to your chest, I'm sure you guys have all heard this before, but don't go straight down, right? On a squat and deadlift, you want a straight bar path, but on the bench, you do not, right? If you do, it will probably crush your neck under heavy loads. Like, you'll be very limited. And I believe there's actually an exercise called the guillotine press that is designed to hammer your triceps on the bench. But with that, you're not loading nearly as much weight as you would on the bench press. So this is a bench press video. So don't go straight down, but also at the same time, don't bring it too far down your torso. The reason being is, number one, you'll find it very difficult to press up, but also you want to come to a point where the bar is directly above your elbow. So again, the principle of joint stacking, this will be the safest and most stable position for you to press off of. You know, whether that's your lower nipple or like your upper chest. In most cases, it will be like close to the lower chest or the mid chest at least. But you want to keep the bar stacked above your wrist, above your shoulder, right? I'm sorry, not your shoulder, above your elbow. That is what's going to give you the most pressing power off your chest. And when you press, obviously you want to press up in the direction back to your starting position, right? If you press directly up, which I don't know why you would, but if you press directly up from your lower chest, you'll end up in a position where the bar is no longer above your shoulders, which if you ever try that, like, it will feel really difficult. So start stacked above the shoulder, allow the bar to come in a curved path down to your lower chest area, directly in line above the elbow, and then press up, back to directly above the shoulder. Now, another important thing to consider is you want to fight for your positioning. What I mean by this is, as the bar comes down, you will be inclined to sink that chest because it's heavy, right? It's just like how physics works. As the bar is coming down, you want to naturally like come down with it because it's a heavy weight. It's hard to maintain that upper back arch under heavy weight, especially if you're new to these techniques. But what I like to think about here is obviously one, constant leg drive, constantly driving through those toes, but also think about opening your rib cage up and not only having the bar meet your chest, right? Don't just think about your bar coming to your chest, but thinking about having the chest meet the bar. So it's like a kiss almost. Like, I don't know why that was the first example that came up, but you know, think about having the chest come up to meet the bar as well. And this is like a tip that's not really like visible on camera, but you know you're doing it if under heavy weights you can maintain that upper back arch without it sinking down. That's how you know you're in a great position to press heavy weights. I want to add an additional reason why constant leg drive is something that I keep repeating throughout this video. So we've gone through the benefits. Number one, it helps generate some friction for your lower back to stay as stable as possible on the unrack as well as throughout the press. It also plays a crucial role in keeping that thoracic spine extended under heavy loads when you naturally want to sink down with the weight. That, in conjunction with the cue I previously just mentioned, bringing that chest up to meet the bar. This last reason is probably like, seems the most obvious maybe, But if you don't have constant leg drive and you have no leg tension throughout your bench, on the descent at least, on the descent, that would require you to kind of explode up, right? If you were to want to utilize leg drive, you would have to explode up, you know, suddenly shoot with your hips and your quads, just for that extra power. That might lead you to have your hips leave the bench. That is a no-no. And not just in the world of powerlifting, but just in the world of benching in general. So yeah, it's just like, it will just help you be less butt leaving the bench prone if you utilize constant leg drive, which just is a higher chance of your bench being legit. So that's another reason I wanted to clarify. All right, guys, so I thought it would be a good idea to demonstrate this in real time. So here I am sliding up on the bench. Just a little bit, it could be just a little subtle slide, and then pushing with my legs, specifically my quads. Can't really see it, but that's what I'm doing. And then when I unrack, I'm depressing those scapulas and rotating my elbows inward. It's kind of hard to see from this angle because I do it simultaneously. And it's a better view here. You can kind of see my elbows rotate as my lats are getting engaged. Then I slowly put my butt down onto the bench with control. After I put my butt down with control, maintaining that upper back tension, the next step is to just press. And when I press, you can see that I'm maintaining my upper back angle or my upper back arch by cueing constant leg drive through the quad and also the chest to the bar cue. It's a little hard to see on camera, but that's exactly what I'm doing. All right, guys, so congratulations for making it to the end of this video. If you guys learned something, please let me know down in the comments below. Or if you have any other tips that you would like to drop them down in the comments below. As always, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I hope you guys are on your way to smashing some big bench PRs after this. If you guys are interested in seeing some of my other videos, then I'll leave video links on my left side, but you guys will see it as your right side. No. Left side of the screen. I don't know, I'm kind of tripping, but left side of the screen over here. And then please like this video if you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.